Time to talk about CEX Rarities again. We're going to compare prices from 9 months ago till now, because we have the video proof. Welcome to PS2 Mini Games.
PS2 Mini Games.
Welcome to PS2 Mini Games, the channel that keeps going. In all seriousness, welcome. So this one's going to be a bit of a fun popcorn episode. What do I mean by that? So for those who've been watching for the last year, about 9 months ago, about November time, October time, I did a random CEX Rarity price episode where I basically criticised the massive increase in prices over the last year, so for like 2023 to 2024. That episode has proved to be one of our most popular episodes we've ever done. I think it's got the second most views of any episode, which I think is like short of 3,000. It's not that much for most channels, but for a channel like this, that's very impressive.
Yes, quite good.
Indeed.
Most certainly. What year is it?
51?
Ah, delectable. Indeed.
Yes.
Oh dear, what is it?
I've spontaneously combusted.
Oh, I am sorry.
Oh, it's quite all right. I've grown tired of living.
Ah, very good then.
For the best.
Yes, indeed.
So obviously, since we have video proof of what the prices of certain games were back then, 9 months ago, we're going to look at those exact same games now, check the prices and see if they've actually gone up in price or come down in price. For those who believe that most of them have gone up in price, that's not actually true, but we'll go through the actual games list from that episode. So this one's a bit of fun, and I'm also curious to see why certain games have come down in price and why certain games have gone up in price. Anyway, so a couple of things while we start going through this list again. First of all, Sparrowhawks. Went out the garden this morning. There is a pile of dove feathers in a like neat circle in my garden, which basically means one thing.
Sir, there has been a murder.
Sparrowhawk attack. So, for those who have ever seen a sparrowhawk, it's a bird of prey, reasonably good sized bird of prey, and they live in like rural/village areas. I've only 4 times in my life I've actually seen a sparrowhawk attack take place, and what sparrowhawks will do, they'll find their bird, mostly pigeons and doves. This one was a dove. They will kill it. They will pluck every feather from the body, right? They will actually pluck it into a neat pile. And once it's plucked, they will take the carcass and they will piss off. So what they'll do, they'll kill it in your garden, they'll pluck it in your garden, then they'll take the meat, leaving you nothing but a pile of feathers. So if anyone ever sees a pile of feathers in their garden like a strange, neat circle, that's a sparrowhawk attack.
Wasn't me.
Many people confuse it with cat kills. No. Cats won't pluck. Cats will just take home and go, look, bummy, I've killed a pigeon. And then your mother will go, fuck you. I don't want that carcass. For anyone who owns a cat and the cat's brought home like mice, pigeons, you know that feeling. It's like the cat thinks it's a present for the owner. No, we don't want dead carcasses. But anyway, sparrowhawk attack. Kind of cool to see in person. I have legit watched a sparrowhawk pluck a carcass for a full hour in my own garden while drinking red wine. That's happened. That was at the last property, not this property. I've never seen one here yet, but apparently we do have sparrowhawks here. Interesting. Now for the next 3 days there'll be no birds in the garden because they see the pile and they go, fuck this. I am very close to ordering more games from CEX Online, so more CEX roulettes. It might sound criminal, but I'm ordering a lot of the cheap games, which means that the actual postage is going to cost just as much as the game itself. And people watching this are going, you're a fucking idiot. We've now gotten to that point where a lot of the cheap games I need to find are just not near me. And I'd rather just order them in, get them in the collection, and just move on in my life. So, I think the next CEX roulette, when I order it, I've actually picked 8 games. One of them actually slightly expensive, but the rest of them are like cheap stuff that I just can't find anywhere. So, not common games. So, if I do order them, that will be coming up sometime in the next week or so. But bearing in mind, I'm going away to Scotland for 2 weeks. So, I'm trying to do a lot of like pre-recorded episodes while I'm in Scotland. Because I can record from Scotland from the place I've stayed. I've done it before. I did it last year while I was in Nottinghamshire. I recorded 1 episode in a small room. So there's no games behind me. So it looks a bit fucking weird. But we just do. We must do. These things must occur. I also plan to do an episode about N64 games. Like, not so much price, but what were the best-selling N64 games. I mean, you can Google it. But some people will be surprised which games sold better than others. Some people might be surprised, like, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time was not the best-selling game. Wasn't even in the top 3. Hilarious when you think about it. But some games sold far better than others, and some games you thought were very popular were not as such. We'll get into that in that episode. That's another popcorn episode. So what I'm trying to do at the moment, because obviously I mentioned in the last episode that financially I'm cutting back a little this month for basically the holiday and other things. Each week you're going to get one episode where I have games and one episode where I'm just basically going through things. Like 2 episodes a week. That's what I'm trying to achieve again. Trying to get back in that groove. If life will let me. Anyway, let's start going through the list of games from 9 months ago. For full clarity, for those who are curious what video I'm talking about, hopefully if Dave or myself know what we're doing, it should appear in this corner about right now. So if you want to click on that and watch about 9 months ago, you can. I will warn you, the audio quality was shit. And also, I think we found 200 games since then. So actually, we've done quite well in the last 9 months. We really have for game findage. Findage is not a word. I hate myself. So we'll start off with the game we started off last time, 9 months ago. Armored Core 9 Breaker. Now, for full clarity, when I bought this, over a year and a half ago, I paid obviously £55. I believe I mentioned in that episode I bought that start of January 2024. And also 9 months ago in the last video, well, the video we're basically using a base for this episode, this game was worth £110 9 months ago. So it doubled in price, and that was insane. Consequently, since then, it's actually come down in price. You should pay about £85 for box and manual and game. So it's dropped £25. So, how can I put this? Since January 2024, it doubled in price and came down. So it's basically at the price you would respectfully accept, £85. So basically, CEX tried their luck, doubled the price of it, realised no one was going to pay that, and went, we're bringing it down. So yeah, Armored Core 9 Breaker. I'm not a massive fan of the Armored Core franchise. I find it it's very niche. Very niche, if you understand. But £85 for this, modern day, considering some of these games are now 20 years old plus. 2006. This is just short of 20 years old. £85. Depending if you're a hardcore collector, that might be a good price. For anyone normal, that's probably a terrible price. But it's a price for CEX. And it's probably a price some people will be willing to pay. As well as the brother Armored Core 3. Now, 9 months ago, this was £55 with manual. Now it's £42 with manual. So that's 2 straight games that have come down in price. Acceptable price for this game. This has been as high as £60 at some point, as low as £35. So this game is one of those games which is always going to fluctuate in price, but it's never going to be anything above 60 quid. £42 for this, you know what? Acceptable. Acceptable. That's not a bad price. I paid roughly that when I bought it 2.5 years ago. Yeah, this is one of the early games I bought for the channel. So, yeah. So the first 2 games from 9 months ago have come down in price. That's got to be a positive. That's got to be a positive for collectors. It's not all going horrifically up. Or, you can take it from another point of view. Last year, CEX were really trying to go for the hard fleece. It depends which view you have on it. But at the end of the day, it's only CEX pricing. You haven't got to go to CEX. CEX, people gauge pricing through CEX because it's an easy way to roughly indicate how much some people would pay for things. If you understand what I mean. It's not the hard price of what things should be, but a lot of people use the CEX price gauge for selling online for eBay. So really it actually means more than people realise it does, and it kind of fucking sucks because of it. Once again, a reminder, these are just games from the episode from 9 months ago, and are purely because I can prove what price it was then and now. So we go to Ultimodisia. So, long story short, when I originally bought this game, I got it for 20 quid. And then a year later, it was 50 quid, which was the price it was 9 months ago. Now it's £45 with manual. So to be honest, it's still double what it was a year and a half ago. And it's kind of insulting for it. Really, no, this should never be £45. This is too expensive. And it is a nice game. Cell shaded graphics really keep it looking good. Plays reasonably well, but £45? That's a pass for me. I would never pay £45 back now. £20 back then? Yeah, that's about right. And it should be maybe maximum 30 in my humble opinion. Still a tad expensive. Then we come to Castlevania. Now, in the episode from 9 months ago, I stated for a fact that this was £62, and this was not as rare as they would like you to believe. Now it's £68, so it's gone about £6 more, which is a mild and acceptable price increase. Is it worth £68? Once again, that's for you to decide. I think it's a tad expensive, but I can understand why they would charge 68 quid. Still don't like it though. Still don't like it. Bear in mind, when I bought this a long time ago, I paid £40 for it. So what you find is most of the games I buy actually go up in price. There's a few games I've bought where it's gone down in price, and we'll get to some of those in the future. But usually I'm right to buy things when I do. Obviously, there's certain games that I should have bought a long time ago that I really regret. Coraline really is the one I regret, because when I had a chance to buy for 40 quid, I passed. Now you're going to be paying 3 figures for that. Fuck it.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Clock Tower 3 is next. Now, as you saw, about 2 years ago now, I paid £40. And then I went through a strange 6-month period where it went down to as little as £30. Now, remember, when I bought this, there was no rarity status, as the label can tell you. Then the rarity status turned up, which gave CEX quite the excuse to increase it in price. And I believe in the last episode it was £65. This is the episode from 9 months ago, which was a ridiculous increase. It's £78 now, which is still that's not justified. It's a classic case of it's a horror game, so we can justify increasing the price. Not every horror game is fantastic. Not every horror game should be worth more than £50. I mean, it's a good horror game, but £78 worth? No. I honestly believe if Resident Evil 4 didn't sell so much, that would be like 30 to 40 quid. Because Resident Evil 4 did phenomenally well in sales, and on different consoles, they can't justify making it a rarity. Whereas all the other horror games, which sold decently, but you know what I mean? I mean, the Silent Hill games sold very, very well. But because they're cult classics, they've got to be ridiculously expensive games. No. Silent Hill 2 is a reasonably easy game to find. And you can find the price of that maybe later in this episode. I don't know. You shall see. Then comes Curse of Iris. As I mentioned, I bought this game just before the channel began. So that's like 2.5 years ago. As you see, I clearly paid a £5 for this, which is a fucking steal for the price it is now. And this wasn't that expensive for a long time. To be honest, then the rarity system turned up, and because it's a horror game, and because it's not that common, and CEX wanted to get the monies, 9 months ago you would have paid £75 with manual. Now it's 70, so they've brought it down slightly, but still ridiculously expensive for a game that was not worth that much 2.5 years ago. The classic haunting ground theorem of, because it's rare, and it's like a horror game, we can just keep increasing the price and people will pay it. I think they still do though. So once again, people like me probably are the problem, but at the same time, there's certain prices I'm not going to pay. And there's certain prices which are not justified. And this isn't justified. It really isn't. Still cheaper than 9 months ago, but still expensive at the same time. Now comes one of the biggest points of the episode from 9 months ago that I made. Manhunt 2. So, I made the point, and obviously I bought this at £55 a long time ago at CEX. And 9 months ago, you would have to pay £105 for it with manual. But I made the point that you could actually buy the game without the manual for £50. So by CEX's own mathematics, the manual was worth more than the game itself. Because obviously the manual apparently is worth £55, because obviously the increase from £50 to £105, it's more than the actual game itself. That was 9 months ago, and that was just ridiculous. Insane mathematics. The actual game is still worth the same it was then. £105, you still have to pay for this, which is ridiculous, by the way. But without the manual, it's now worth £80. So out of nowhere in 9 months, apparently the manual has lost some significant value. It's only worth £25 now. So if someone could explain to me how this has halved in price in the last 9 months, but the actual game itself is still worth the same with a manual. So CX are basically saying the game is now worth £80 without a manual. So the game's now worth more and the manual's well worth less. Okay? No, it's people noticed what I noticed. And people realise you're taking the piss. How could a game be worth double with a manual? One of those things, but the fact it still costs £110 to buy with a manual, still far too much. It really is. And then comes Tengai. Now, as stated in the episode 9 months ago, paid £50 when it was actually in the early stages of... well, actually, it's strange, really. So, this wasn't a rarity, right? But it states Tengai with manual. So, the early stages before the rarities became a thing. Paid 50 quid for it, right? Then it was £95 9 months ago, which was a hell of an increase. Now it's £105. And my argument was then and still is, this is not that rare. I've seen multiple copies of this. Then and now, when I go to game markets, this is one of the most common rare games I see. And maybe I'm just incredibly lucky. I say lucky. Maybe I'm just incredibly fortunate to see this game often, but no. How is it still increasing in price if it's actually not that hard to find? Once again, the concept of rarity is, it's fucking rare. It's the same argument I have for all the Silent Hill games. They're not actually that rare. Silent Hill 2, 3, and 4 are actually reasonably easy to find. Silent Hill Origins, yeah, that's a rare game. Shattered Memories, both versions, incredibly rare games. Justified. But this, one of those moments where it's like, price gouging. It's price gouging. It's price gouging for the sake of price gouging. I'm very fortunate I found this game for like £50 2 years ago. Because now, £105, one of those games buying it for £105, it would hurt my soul. For those of you that say he's whining again, he's doing the same stuff he did like last year, whine again. Maybe I'm coming across a bit whiny, but at the same time, I'm genuinely asking these questions like, how is that justified? Why do we pay these prices? Why are we getting screwed because we like collecting things like this? I mean, I am part of the problem. But can I also be part of the solution? I hope to find solutions to this. I mean, there's a lot of solutions. None of them I can think of right now. Then we come to games like Product Zero 2, right? Now, I made the point that I paid £60 for it a long time ago. It was worth £80 9 months ago. Now it's worth £90. Mild increases like that, I'm not fully against. And this is actually a very good game. So it's a very good game and not a common game. An actual rarity. £90 I will justify. But there's certain games you just can't justify. And there's certain games that either I got incredibly lucky or I'm just out of the loop on how rare they are. Like the next game. Now, this game was the linchpin of my episode from 9 months ago. For those who remember, Forbidden Siren 2, very good game by the way. Bought this 2 years ago roughly for £50. Apparently I was incredibly lucky to buy it then. Because 9 months ago it was worth £150. It literally tripled in price in 1 financial year. And I believe the game without a manual was like 100. So like that manual was worth 50 quid, right? Now it's 145, so it's come down a sizzling fiver. Oh, CEX UTEs. But here's where it still really annoys me. The game without the manual is 140 quid. So apparently that manual went from about £50 worth of value to a fiver in a year. So they just straight up were making up the money. They're basically making it up. The manual prices and non-manual prices, they really are. And people will say, well, yeah, they were doing it because they were getting a lot of games without the manual, a lot of no games with the manual. Maybe so. But you can't just make up manual prices like that. Apparently they do. So in the last year, they must have got a shitload of these with manuals all of a sudden, and less without manuals. It's still a very expensive game. At one point, I think it was like $175. So it's come down from the absolute peak to $145. But 2 years ago, it'd be 50 quid. And I got very lucky, apparently, to be $145 now. Maybe it is that rare. And I've been told by a friend of the channel who works at CEX that actually is kind of that rare. I just got really lucky. The price was just that low at that point. Still £150 for a game when it was £50 2 years ago. Jesus Christ, that is still a lot of money. That is literally, for some people, like a week's work. For like the lowest, you know what I mean? For people on like minimal, it really could be a week's work. Or maybe a shift's work, I don't know. It's a lot of money. It really is. And it's put it this way, these are the kind of games now I would have to save money for to even contemplate buying them. It won't be like a one-off. I just couldn't drop 150 in a game like that these days. I really couldn't. I have to like prepare myself mentally to drop that kind of money. Still ridiculously expensive this day. Haunting Grounds. Now, we have documented quite thoroughly over the last 2 years the price increase of this and how insane it is. We'll do it one more time. So, when I roughly started collecting in real life, before the channel started, this game was tenner, 20 quid maybe. When I started this channel, this game was roughly 30 to 40. And when I bought this game at a Norwich gaming market about 2 years ago, I paid 60, and I was about £10 below the CEX price then. 9 months ago, this was £145 with manual boxed, which is utterly insane. For the first time since I've reported this, or since I've done these episodes, it's actually decreased in price. It is £130, which is still a lot. It's still a lot for another horror game. Now, is it really expensive? Yes, it is. Should this be cheaper than Forbidden Siren 2? That's subjective. I think this game, because it is actually reasonably rare. It's hard to find this game, it really is. But I think this game is so expensive is because of the actual kind of horror it has, and the premise of it, and the actual gameplay of it. But most importantly, it's a Capcom horror game, so it's going to be made rather well, and they know what they're doing. And I've actually played this game fully, and I enjoyed this game a lot. But for those who haven't played it, I don't say you should emulate it, but you should. £130 for this. It's nicer for it to get a price decrease, but I think anything over £100 is still expensive for a game like this. I mean, nearly every game over £100 is still expensive. The super rare stuff might be justified, but £130 for this, still hard to justify to this day. But the fact it's come down in price, it's about fucking time. So the last game I mentioned in the episode from 9 months ago is Wild Arms 4. Now to put it in context, we've bought a lot more rarities since then, but for this episode I want to see like a price comparison from 9 months ago. So Wild Arms 4, as you can see, I bought this £55 roughly just under 2 years ago now, because I bought this in Falkirk, Scotland. Ironically, we're going back to Scotland, so we might see Falkirk again. £55 back then was a reasonably decent price. And then, like, 2 months later, after I bought this, this went up to £110 because of the rarity system, right? No, last year. So I bought this in 2023. A year later, in 2024, this was £110, so it doubled in price, which is ludicrous to this day. Still insulting in price increase, and there's no justification for that. Now it's £90 with manual. Still expensive, but it's come down £25 since last year in 9 months. So, still an increase that is unjustified, but an increase is more easier to swallow, if you understand what I mean.
Oh, no, not that. Just come on, you guys, let's do it.
So basically, by going through all the games we went through 9 months ago, what you've noticed is the vast majority of them, well, not the vast majority, but it's an even playing field. I would say a good half of the games have come down in price since then. Mild price decreases, but they come down. The few of them have actually gone up in price mildly, but nothing's gone up massively in price. And things that come more down in price, like, how can I put this better? The price decreases are bigger than the price increases have been since 9 months ago. So what can we learn from this like price comparison from 9 months ago? You can take a few things away from this. What I'm taking away from this is simple. 9 months ago, CEX went for a hell of a price gouge. And they failed. Well, actually, they can't say they failed. I bet you people pay those prices. But since then, nearly every game we've spoken about has either come down in price, stagnated, or had a mild price increase. Nothing's doubled. So you can argue that for the vast majority of the games we've spoken about today and 9 months ago, they realised people weren't going to pay those prices. Some of these games have stagnated, Manhunt 2. The manual prices between manual and no manual have gotten a lot closer, if you noticed. So the games, whatever you're going to pay, no manual have actually increased. So they've actually increased prices on no manuals, which is a bit fucking mean. It's not a perfect world. CEX are not a perfect company. And if I had other choices, I would use them. But for collection purposes, and since I'm going for a full set, they are very handy. Do I hate their price gouging? Absolutely. Do I hate that the delivery price is $2.95 per game? You fucking believe I hate it. But there's certain games I can't find, and there's certain games that it's just simple to buy them from and try my luck on. And as you've seen from a lot of the roulettes from the last 2 months, a lot of their games are fucking shite. But being a hardcore collector like myself, there are certain pills you have to swallow and just ignore. And sadly, this is one of those things. Prices are probably going to keep steadily going up over the next couple of years because they can justify it by saying that you can't find it anywhere else. Delivery prices are still insulting to this day. They ship £2. You shoot $2.95 per parcel. Fuck you. We're never going to get representatives from CEX say, well, Mr. PS2 Mini Games, you're not coming back to our stores. I'll be like, okay, let's go on eBay. I mean, they don't watch this channel. Very few people watch this channel. For those who do, I thank you. What I'm trying to say in a brief synopsis is, CEX are not perfect. They do fleece the vast majority of collectors. But they know that it's hard to find games. They know that gaming markets are like once a month if you're lucky. And they know at the end of the day that these games are getting older, they're getting rarer, and where else are we going to find this stuff? So their actual like company mentality of like hard fleecing, you can't justify it, but you can kind of understand it. From a pure profit side of things, that's what they're going to do. I just don't like it. And CEX has helped this collection quite a lot. They really have. But do I like it? It's hard. So there's good and bad CEX, but at the end of the day, the rarity system is not going anywhere. Most of the prices have come down since 9 months ago because they realised they weren't going to get away with it. You notice they've come down, but they've never actually got to the point they were 9 months ago, or like 2 years ago. So collectors, we're losing out as collectors. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please comment and subscribe. Future episodes. I will do that N64 episode about which games sold better, and basically a nice popcorn episode. This one's been a bit harder than I thought it was going to go, but I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Bye.